Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all YB. Thanks for us as usual. Tonight we have Mr. Jeffrey Liu from Singapore. Yeah, I think many of you guys may have met him before, online or only face to face. Yep. Jeff loves cameras, and obviously he loves lenses. He has got a wide range of collection from vintage to all the way to modern lenses. So tonight, I think our brother Jeff will be sharing with us, all his experiences, in with cameras as well as lenses that that he has got his own. So okay, without further ado, let's welcome Jeffrey Liu. Over to you, Jeff.
Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Jeffrey, as you all know.
Hi.
So this
Hi,
presentation today is about lenses. I've been focusing more on the older lenses, modern lenses not so much. And some of the reasons why there are some people who swear by all these old lenses, and then there's a cult to it. Why all these people use vintage lens, and what are the reasons, and what are the pros and cons of using very old lens. So this picture you see here, this is a Russian MTO lens, MTO. It's a 1000 mm f10 lens. Okay, so I use an adapter. It's an M42 thread. I use the adapter to connect to my Nikon. So if you see in the middle, there's a small adapter. That's a 2x teleconverter. So it's actually 2000 mm. Of course, the f-stop is dropping a lot, but not an issue. I just use it for fun to shoot. Okay, so lens is obviously most stock topic for all the camera hobbies. So some people say this lens is better, some say this lens is better, and blah blah blah. There are also people who also swear by all these lenses, or they say, look at the picture, it's so nice and everything. But what is really old lens and what is really modern lens? Is there really a gap or a difference between this two category of lens? Okay, so this picture you see here is a Jupiter 9. It's a Russian lens also. I think it's built in the 1970s, if I remember. I also use adapter to connect to my F-mount Nikon. Okay. There are many reasons for people who buy lenses. Okay, so let me continue first. Okay, these are all the lenses that I used to and currently have. The one with the asterisks are the ones that I have now. The one that don't have asterisks, I sold it away. So there are other Russian lenses that I also use, but I can't remember because I just buy and sell. So I can't remember some of the lenses that I used to have. Okay, so as you can see here, quite a few of the brands are for Russia. Okay, the bottom four are actually Nikon, Canon, even Olympus, the 4/3 systems. They also have very old lens, which is still quite good today. Okay, so what are the difference between old and modern lens? Okay, the first thing is the build quality. Obviously, in the old times, there's no hard plastic or resin or carbon fiber body lens in pre or post World War II era. So the first thing that comes to mind is metallic. Okay, it's metallic. It's mostly metallic, and the lens design in the past time are used to be more simpler. When people talk about elements in a lens, elements means glasses inside. Elements and group. Group means elements in one together. It's called a group. So in the past, the lens design are so much simpler and not so advanced like what it used to be today. Okay, so the quality of the lens used in the past also different from today. So these are some of the differences. The build quality is metallic. Current mostly are use carbon fiber. Of course, there are modern lenses that are metallic, but we skip that for now. So most modern lenses, they use carbon fiber or hard plastic or mixture of both. The older ones, I don't heard of anything except for metal. Okay, the lens design, Tessa, there are many other designs that used to be very popular, but nowadays they use other optic designs that I also not very sure of. Okay, the quality of glass means that at the point of time, the best, highest quality glasses of that time compared to now. Obviously now it's better lah. So at the point of time, the lens, and lastly, Here I say AF. In the past, there's no AF lah. It's impossible. So this is some of the main differences between the vintage and classic lah. Later I will show you some interesting things also that differs more on it. Okay, so why people buy old lens? People like me, poor boy, no money buy AF lens, new lens, so I buy old lens. Okay, one of the reasons why is cheap. It is very cheap. If you look at eBay, if you know what you are looking for in your own brand, it's cheap. Of course, there are certain old lens that is still very costly even till today because they are considered by what my Mr. John told me, they are considered legendary lens, or rather collector's item. Because at the point of time, they created all these lens like in the very limited amount, and only the era have only that particular model, that batch is only the era have. So people buy and keep. Of course, can use for camera also lah, but this is one of the reasons lah. Some of the reasons, okay. But my point is, most of the lens are cheap. The Russian lens, the Nikon that I have, the Russian lens that I have, for example, this one, this small one, it cost me only $50 only. I will show you an example of the pictures later. $50 it's about 150 ringgit. It works. And of course, it looks more retro lah. Some people like to show off ma. Wow, manual. Wow, the lens looks so different. Some people like to show off lor. Okay. And also I say it is build quality like what I explained just now. It's the same. Collector items means legendary, people who want to collect. For me, Nikon, I'm a Nikon user. There are also certain collected lens that I also like to have, but so far I only have one or two lah. The rest are too expensive. Another thing, the old lens, right? It's because it's manual focus, you will have to be more hands-on. And this is where you appreciate the journey to shoot the picture because you manual focus. Okay. And some people like to buy old lenses because it's more like a status lah, like a status. Not like obviously one very good example is Leica lor. Wow, people say Leica, wow, uri lah, which one? Wow. So it's also some people buy for like that. So here are some of the reasons like where I just now what I said, the reasons why some people like to buy old lens rather than new lens. Okay, this is one lens I have. This is the Tokina 2035. It's not really that old lah. This one, my mistake, but it's about almost 20 to 30 years ago. This lens, I think it's in the early or late 1990s. Yeah, I think it's the 1990s. So people always question me, say, "Hey, old lens very sharp, man, very good, man." But if you look at this place, I took this at Malacca. This is a almost 20 to 30-year-old lens. And you look at it, the picture, there's nothing wrong with it. It's sharp, it's contrasty, there's no issue. Okay? Anyone got questions and ask me later. No, yeah.
Not now.
And this one, I took this in Japan. It was snowing heavily, yeah. But the lens still works. So another thing I want to add on is the durability of all these old lenses are very high one. Their tolerance is very high. Nowadays, AF lenses are all electronic. You just bit humidity, a bit of snow, a bit of rain, that's it really. But the old lens, manual focus, and even the old lens which have AF capability, their mechanical run, it will not be so easily damaged by the weather. So this is shot in Japan, in a very snowy condition. This one is Lake Toya in Japan. So you look at the picture, can you tell whether this is a vintage or new lens? I don't think so, to be honest. Okay, this is Lake Toya. I think I panel it. And this is also in Japan. You see the color contrast is pretty good by its own, and it holds it pretty well if compared to AF lenses today, new lenses, the new generation lenses today. And then my next lens would be, okay, this is the Helios that I showed you just now, the $50 Helios. One of the main factors people swear by certain lenses is because of their characteristic. What is characteristic? characteristic of a lens means when people look at the lens, they can roughly tell this is not the normal AF lens you see every day, or you see, this lens is definitely not Nikon or not Canon. So that's one way to differentiate the characteristic of the lens. If you look at this friend of mine, you look at the bokeh at the back, you realize that it's like kind of like swirly. It's like swirly there. Sorry, I can't explain properly, but swirly. So this lens was actually famous for its swirly bokeh. They call it swirly. This is a Helios 44-2 58mm f2. Okay, I don't know whether you can see it, but yeah, this is $50 Sing, and this is the very same lens I used to took my friend. So if you tell me about sharpness and Carabel aberration, definitely there is that of course there is drop in sharpness compared to AF lens today, but it still works. Overall, the picture is still sharp enough to be print or display for people to see. This is a very good example. You see the bokeh at the back is different one. You look at modern lens bokeh and this one, you can tell the bokeh is very different. This is what this lens is famous for. Actually, this swirly bokeh is an optical error. They designed wrong. There's an optical flaw in design that makes it like that. But somehow a lot of people like it lah. Okay, it's for information. Another example, this one, my friend, during the graduation shoot, you can see the bokeh is also different. Look at the back, it's very different. Okay, so my next lens would be Zenita. Zenita is also Russian. The brand is, I think it's from the brand Zenit. Okay, so after post-World War II, they also created a lot of lens. So this lens is a very good alternative for people who want to buy fisheye lens, especially Olympus or Nikon, for example. Canon, I'm not very sure, so I apologize for my lack of knowledge. Nikon fisheye lens is pretty expensive. It's about 700 to 800 SGD, which is about a few $1,000s for bringing it. Olympus also have, but I think it's not cheap also. So this Zenita lens, which I bought it from Carousel, is new. It's considered new because the guy just buy and never use really. He sell it. He sold me for only $100. Okay, I think you all can see.
So
This is a very good alternative.
What mount is this?
Sorry?
What mount is this?
This is F mount. I'm only F mount. I think it's available in other mounts. But for Micro Four Third, no, you need adapter. I think it's available in FM42.
This mount now you are holding it is the which mount?
F mount, Nikon.
Oh, direct F mount. Okay.
Yes, direct F mount. Direct F mount. I think it's made in the late 80s. I think 1995. I think it's 1995, based on a serial number. So, sorry for my lack of knowledge. The Zenita lens do have mounts for other camera, but I'm not very sure at this point of time. But I know Canon, Pentax, Minolta, Sony have the mount. So if you want to have Sony or Olympus, you need to have adapter. I'll show you more pictures to prove how good and cheap this lens is. I think some of you have seen it before. I used this to shoot the Milky Way in Bromo. This shot was shot by this lens, and this is one shot. I didn't edit much. This is one shot. I took this one shot. Long shutter fireworks back in 2020. 2019, sorry. 2019. So you can see the picture. If I just show you this picture, you can't tell that this is actually from 20-30-year-old lens. You can't tell. And it's so small, so compact. Compared to any fisheye lens of your brand, you compare to this lens. Look at it. Definitely not as small as this. I can guarantee. 不要讲 Olympus Howard， 不要讲 Olympus any big frame you compare with the size even Nikon one is slightly bigger. Okay, so this is one good thing about some of the old lens that I have. Small, compact, and very light. Only problem is you have to, it's fully manual lah. You have to adjust everything yourself.
F what this one?
这个 f2.8
Yeah. 2.8
The picture that I shot with this lens was selected by Nikon Malaysia for your information. $100 lens, huh? Walao,
Show off,
not
show
off
off.
lah. Just trying to say lah.
Okay.
So this is another shot, sunrise at Pari Jawa. I used the same lens for this. So you look at the picture. What I'm trying to emphasize is, if you look at the picture, just look at it. It's okay. There's nothing. There's no drop in sharpness or contrast, or there's no flare. It works. All these old lens works as long as you don't pixel peak. You just look at it or you just print it out. It's fine. On this lens, they still have enough resolving power for today modern lens and camera. Camera. They have enough resolving power for the modern camera today. Enough is enough.
Up to which megapixel?
Like I discussed with Howard just now, debate most modern lenses and old lens, right? They have, because okay, the older generation, obviously their resolving power will not be so high. If I remember, this one Howard, I didn't tell Howard just now. If I remember, it's about 18 to 24 megapixel. The next generation, which is about the 2000s lens, right? Their resolving power is about 36.6. Why I say this is because I was surfing on the net and I happened to see this guy who did a lot of tests on all these lenses. What caught my attention is he showed me maybe the 2000s lens, right? He showed the picture taken in 24, 36 megapixel, 18 megapixel. There is a difference. But once he hit 36.6 and above, to the Sony R3, to the 45, the 40s megapixel, up to 50, there is no difference in any of the picture already. So I firmly believe that there is a limit to how much resolve it can do. But of course, this is our old lens. But if you look at the picture, this is a DA10 36.6 megapixel. It still works for me. The next one, this one. What's the name of the temple? Penang one, that famous. I can't remember the name.
Galaxy.
Yes. This is the only. Yes, thank you, Bunchu. I think it's Bunchu, right? I can't see.
My.
This is the only time, Chinese New Year, the only time that it leaks up. So I took this lens, went there, and I shot this at pretty high aperture. Because if you look, another characteristic of this lens, if you look at the starburst, right, it's very different one. Because the blade, it only has 6 blades. So when you do starburst, right, like high aperture, like f11 to f13, you can see the starburst is not so messy. I don't like modern lens today, too much aperture, the starburst is too messy. I prefer less. So if you look at this picture, as I prove again, it works. And it's not so overwhelming because the starburst is not so overwhelming. The whole picture is still well controlled. Okay, so my next lens will be, this is my personal favorite. My friend's picture is in here. This is a Zenita, no, this is the Vivita lens. I don't know whether you all heard of Vivita. Vivita is actually formed by 2 brothers. I think they're Amor. And then they somehow open a company and then they hire Japan Japan vendors to do their lens and stuff. So along the way, somehow it becomes sort of a Japanese company. The management take over and then it's solely in Japan, if I remember. For anyone who knows about this or any information that you think I'm wrong, please correct me. I also learned. So this is the famous Vivita. I don't know whether you can see. It's a 28 to 200 mm. Okay, not like AF lens. This is a push-pull lens. Okay, modern lens you rotate for the zoom, right? But this is, you can see a number here. See?
Your webcam no focusing.
Oh no. Okay. Sorry. So you can see there is numbers here: 35, 50, 70 mm, 100 mm, 135 to 200. So this is the zoom of the past. Okay, this is how they zoom. Okay, they zoom and then they rotate. Okay, this is how they do it. So I love this lens a lot. Okay, so for this particular every lens, okay, every lens got its history lah. So for this lens, it has a particular serial number that many people sought after. Because this lens was made by many companies. They also made Cosina. I don't know whether you all heard Cosina. I think Howard Shot got Cosina, if you remember. Cosina lens. Also from EV.
Time. History already. History.
Yeah, that's why I say today is our history, man. So why I love this lens a lot? Because it's very light, it's cheap. I think it costs about 200 plus Sing. Okay. There is some dropness. Okay, the flare control is not really good. But if you do, as long you know how to angle the point, the source of light, it still can work one. Later pictures I'll show you. Okay. So this is a Zenithal. But what makes it so special is this particular batch is made by Koburi, another Japan company. This is the Kome version. It's like the sought after batch number of this lens. I was lucky able to get it one, quite brand new. So one character nice about this lens is it's 200 mm, right? You all see 200 mm, but I can shoot 200 mm at macro mode. I can have a magnification of 1:4. 1:4. That means I can shoot 200 mm closer than most AF 200 mm lenses. Much closer. It's about within 30 to 50 cm only. This is one thing about this lens. Okay, so I'll show you some of my pictures. Okay, you see this picture, Friday, August 6, 2021. You look at the review, the date of last review. Look at the sharpness aberration, bokeh handling value. I don't have to lie. The internet state this. I just got it from the internet. Just 1-2 hours before this presentation. Okay. You see the average price. You see the US average price. Okay. So this is my friend, also my CFO for Vintage Lens. She's the one that introduced me to all these lens and then made me waste more money buying all these lens lah. Because for this presentation, yeah, he's inside. He's keeping quiet. Don't make my life difficult, John. Okay, so
hi, John. Hi.
So for this presentation today, I actually bring the lens out this morning to shoot. Saturday, I usually have birding lah, so I bring this lens out just to shoot for today's presentation. Okay, this is, so you can see this picture. There's nothing wrong with it. The bokeh, of course, is a bit noisy lah, but that's another issue. The picture is in contrasty and usable enough for display or print. Also, if you see the sunbird is feasting, my friend behind is trying to shoot. So I quickly manual focus it and then I take the shot. So you see the bokeh and everything. It's actually quite nice to me. I just don't know how to explain, but it works. It just works. Okay, now the fun part. This picture, these two pictures. No, sorry. The one at the bottom left, the wax bill. This is a wax bill bird. This is taken uncropped. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear me? I did not crop this picture. This is shoot at 200 mm macro mode. Not crop. You can see how big the bird is. I didn't do anything. I didn't crop. I just auto Lightroom. I export. I did not crop at all. This one. You can see how close I can get to this bird. Of course, the bird don't get me. I so friendly. That's why I can shoot in very close mode. So this is one thing cool about this lens. I love this lens. I can shoot so close. You see, I don't have to crop. Oh, so good. Wow. And then the other one is the female olive back sunbird. You can see it captures enough detail for me to be used. Okay, this is not crop. This is crop. Sorry, this is crop. The one bottom is not crop. Just to show you the difference.
But how far were you from the bird, Jeff?
Which one?
The one that without crops.
The one that we
Like-
above this, okay, these two pictures are taken this morning. The one without crop is about 30 to. Yeah, let me measure. Yeah. It's about 50. I think it's about 50 cm. 50 cm. 50 cm. It's quite close. My friend had to stand there. He cannot move. He cannot shoot. Then I shoot. I told him, you don't move. When the bird scared away, I told you. You just stand there. Then I shoot. So this is one nice characteristic and strength of this lens that many lenses today don't have. Okay, this one is Ichin. I think this one was taken in Jakarta.
No. This one from Johor.
Huh? Jakarta.
Serena.
Oh.
Serena.
Oh, sorry. My mistake. The beside the lens got some. Okay. So I on purpose I bring this lens just for this trip. Okay, and I just use this lens because I love how light and it's good and it's very usable. So for this lens, I can use for portrait, street, landscape, even macro. Macro, of course, not the 1:1 macro, but it's close enough for me to take some subject
Close up.
that has, close up. The word is close up actually, it's not macro, but enough details for me to crop and see as if I take a very high magnification lens. So this lens is quite usable. It's quite flexible. This is my beautiful Catherine. I was with her also at this place. So instead of me shooting people, I shoot her. Okay. This one was also there. I think I was with Howard. Howard 跟你是吗？ With Catherine.
这个是巴黎，这个是好像巴黎。
我们那里几次跟你去巴黎？
没有。
这个是那个
那个我们。
Yeah. Okay, so this is also another demonstration of more proof to see that I can actually use this lens for street photography, for example. And if you focus it correctly and you know how to utilize, you see a guy in the bottom left, he's throwing twigs into the fire to burn. I'm actually fast enough to focus the guy and capture the moment he threw the twig. So what I'm trying to say is modern lens can also do what AF lens can. Maybe it's slower, but it still works. Like what Howard said, if you are not afraid to miss focus, then just use manual lens. Same for me. If you are willing to take a risk and to miss moments, then you just use manual focus. Okay. So this is the end of my Vita. The next one is slightly modern, more modern. It's about in the 90s really, but it's still very old in today's context. Okay, this is my favorite Nikon 180mm 2.8. I think Eileen inside. Eileen. Okay, this is the one. Very cheap. Oops, sorry. It's very cheap. Not cheap. Actually, not cheap. But because the condition of this lens is very, very well taken care of. Okay, so I bought it about 400 plus Sing dollars. But for 180mm f2.8, 400 plus, you think about it, where to find? Cannot find one.
SG only at SG and find Jeffrey.
Yeah. So it's quite heavy. I admit. I bought this overseas to meet Catherine Leor. It's quite heavy, but my point is I want to use it for portrait. So I was glad that I managed to use it. It's F mount, obviously AIS lens. For people who are Nikon who doesn't know some of the context that I'm talking about, later I'll just share. If you are not sure, just ask me. For Nikon lens, other lens I don't know. Nikon, I no problem. So this is the 180 f2.8. The gold ring suggests that this is the premium model, like equivalent to Olympus Pro series or Canon's L series. So in the past, the gold ring suggests that this lens in their era is the premium. Okay. This is 2.8. Look at my face. See how small it is. See?
Too big. Your face too big.
Okay, my point is very small. And one thing I like about or some of the design on the old lens is their hood, H-O-O-D, their hood is built in. Very fun, very good. I love it. So I won't, unlike modern lens, you attach, then sometimes you misplace it, you lost, then you become a headache. But this one, I can just use it and cover it up. Okay, so optically, I have nothing to say. It's very sharp. This is okay. This is a picture of my friend Eileen. I think she's inside the chat as well. This is shot at 2.8, and you can see the bokeh. If you notice some of the pictures, right, a bit faded. I never adjust the contrast and everything. I just want to take as it is and show you it can be usable. Of course, you can do it to increase the saturation and stuff, but I don't see the need. So this is my friend taken. You see the bokeh and the sharpness, it works. Okay, it just works. This is also her. I take from some distance away. I edit make it misty, got a feeling Okay, this is also shoot at using a same lens that I shoot, but this is not at f2.8 I think it's about f4 if I remember. Okay, this is Michael's friend. Last time some model session, I can't remember when. It's also the same lens I use for this for these two pictures, the very same lens. You can see nothing wrong. If I just show this picture, you can't tell whether it's a modern lens or old lens. You can't tell. And this is shot with my D810. It's a modern camera. It just works. The only problem is manual focus. There's no focus peaking compared to mirrorless. But I mean, if you know how to focus, you know the basics. It's not really that difficult. It's actually quite enjoyable. I think more hands-on is more fun rather than let the camera do everything itself. My other friend, I shoot her for some of her albums. The picture are taken by me. She's a musician. Okay, you can see how lovely the bokeh is. Okay, she's a bit soft. If you notice, her picture is a bit soft. 2.8. I think I shoot it quite pretty close, so I think the sharpness dropped a bit because due to the f.8, the DOF is very thin. Okay, but if you look at it, it's still usable, and the bokeh separation, it still works. Okay, this one I shoot her very far. I have to stand very far back to shoot the whole body. So you see the bokeh is good enough to separate the subject from the background. And for information, all my portrait lens that I use for portrait, only one lens is AF. The rest are all manual focus. For those people who know me, all my lenses are manual. Only one lens that I use for portrait is AF. For information, that's why I can display a few portrait pictures. Okay, this one my personal favorite. Okay, this lens is a Nikon 50 AIS. Okay, this lens has been around for 30 years. 30, okay compared to now, it's almost coming to 40 This lens is still selling today. Nikon is still selling today. This is the 50mm f1.2 f1.2 smaller than my mouth. Okay bigger but it's very small. And this is f1.2. It's usable. It works. Of course, you can't compare to modern lens. Definitely, modern lens are way better in controlling flare, corrective aberration. The contrast sharpness is way better. But of course, what I like about this lens is small and light. It's not very heavy. The 2.8, obviously, there's a bit of softness, a bit of flare, fringing. But if I just zoom out and look at the whole picture as a whole, you don't zoom in, you don't pixel peak. It actually works. This picture was taken at f1.2 for information. So it's very small and light. But something I need to confess, this lens I bought it in 2017. So it's considered a new lens but the design and this product lifespan has been around for 30 to 40 years. I bought this in 2017. Before I fly to Hokkaido, I actually called them and say I want to buy one new because it's very cheap. I bought this a new f1.2 with coating the old lens, all these old lens last time don't have multi coat, don't know what nano coat, don't know coat, no coat one. This one has coating. It's 690 Sing dollars. 690 Sing dollars for a 50mm f1.2. You think about it, okay? Think about it. This is also shot at one f1.2. You see the bokeh, you see the overall. There's a bit of softness at 1.2, but I think that's the way it is, and the character of this lens. It's just like that. Okay. My beautiful Catherine again, also shot at f1.2. Everything also f1.2 lah. This one was shot at 2.8. If you can look at the bokeh, it's not so blur. Okay, but like I told you already, if you just set down like f2, f2.2, 2.4, 2.8, the picture is very sharp. It still works. If I don't shoot at wide open, I step down for any of the vintage lens, it still works. It's sharp, good enough. As long as you know how to manage focus, it's not a big issue. And I also don't use it for model. I use it for landscape also. You see the flare, so nice.
Got any trick for new focus?
For DSLR, okay, wait.
Easy way
who is asking?
to master the new focus.
Okay, for people who are using mirrorless, you can use the focus peaking to help. But the only way for you to have a higher percentage of focusing, right, for DSLR, you just have to use pure eye power. There's no other way. Or you can just use the eye and see. Or for Nikon, Canon, I think they all have the metering, right? Once you see that metering is in focus, you just shoot. I will teach you another way. But I don't know whether you all can see now. Maybe I finish my presentation and then I show you later.
Later.
Almost done already.
I mean, so fast. Okay.
Must stop 这样害我嘞，你们这样 last minute. Okay. So this is also landscape. So the flare I shoot at f8. Okay. So okay. Now Q&A. Okay. Someone actually just asked me how to shoot manual focus, right? Okay. Let me show you something interesting. It might be a bit boring, but it's actually quite interesting. Can anyone tell me? Okay, my camera maybe cannot see. Can anyone tell me those numbers on the lens?
Jeff, sorry to interrupt, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff, maybe your presentation so that you get a bigger screen.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
冇緊張。
Okay.
Is it better?
Yep, a lot better now.
Never expect my face so handsome. Okay, never mind.
You are.
Yeah. So my mic too big. Cannot see. So all these numbers
okay.
All these numbers even the new lens also have numbers. But do you actually know what this number means? It's not for show one. You think they're very free? They can print all this thing for show, man? Cannot be, man. Right? So all these numbers in the past, how people shoot. In the past, the film cameras, they don't have viewfinder one. This is aberration. They don't have viewfinder or anything to see last time in the early film days. So they use all these numbers to help them. So okay, it's also known as the hyperfocal. Okay, the famous hyperfocal theory. But nowadays, it's a bit redundant. But in the past, it's a very, very important skill to have. Okay, so I don't know whether you can see the numbers. Okay, but I show you something interesting.
Wow.
Okay, maybe not enough light. Wait.
Not interesting already.
clearly now. You see that there's this line design, all this line here. You see or not?
Yeah.
你们看到吗？
Yeah.
Can see You see
right?
As I say this is not for show There's the meaning for all these numbers and lines. Okay. So for example is this blue number is f8 Okay. The number f8 which is f8 aperture. It means that it's in blue color, right? So if you look at the line it's also blue. So what it's trying to tell you you see the blue you see if I close right, when I zoom out it's about 35 mm, right? This is 35 mm. This is 35 mm. You see the blue line is here, right? The blue line, this two blue line is here, right? It's trying to tell you that this is your depth of field. Howard blur. I think Michael also blur.
Can you repeat? Can you repeat? Just repeat.
I know. John must be laughing. This is actually not easy to compromise to understand. You see the two blue line
Okay.
So if I zoom at 35 this two, this is my depth of field. From here to here, this is my depth of field. If I zoom out towards 200 mm, you see the depth of field getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this is what the marking is trying to tell you. As you zoom out, you see your depth of field getting smaller and smaller at f8.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is all this information is all here. It'll tell you what to do. So in the past, when people shoot film, they like that one. They look at Howard. Imagine I look at Howard. They aggregation the distance. Look at the number here. Then they focus agar and shoot. The number here will tell you how far here are you from the subject. They just look at the number agar, just shoot. This is how last time people do one. They are really the 高手 They use manual aim You see Carl Hassan, all these famous people film all like this one. Let's see power don't know how they focus also. So this you look at all the old lens, there are a lot of very funny lines, but this is just educational. What's the question again now? How to manual focus? Okay. So the only way for you to manual focus this is just for education. Sorry people, if you're boring, sorry. But if you want to manual focus, the only way for you to manual focus for DSLR, for what I know, is you really have to use your human judgment and the focusing metering on your camera. You need both to work together because sometimes it's not accurate. It might misfocus just by a bit. This is the only way for DSLR that I know of. You have to use a mixture of human judgment and the camera to help you.
For mirrorless camera without picking.
Then same more for if you don't want to use focus picking, it's the same method as DSLR, but mirrorless slightly better It has focus picking. It gives you it won't give you confirm focus shoot one but it will definitely give you a much higher percentage of getting that subject you want to focus because of the focus picking. It does help. Okay, it does help. So today when you look at your lens again look at the numbers. It's not for show It's really not for show. I can show you modern lens You see modern lens. Where Sorry Music why gone so good You see, this is the model lens This is the 1635. You see here, even the autofocus you see here got number one. It's the same. It's the same. It is the same. It's just that it's different now. The way how they display and the design, everything has changed through so many years of generation of lens. It changed. Okay, but the formula is always there. 你跑不掉的 It's always there one. No matter how, you will not run away one. It's just displayed differently, but you'll never be different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can.
Got a question from Michael SNG.
Okay, I'll try to help.
How is this Zenita lens compared to Samyang fisheye lens in terms of use and maybe quality of the picture?
Maybe I open the conversation. I see. Wait, let me open.
You open the message, the chat room, inside the chat room. Zenita lens.
I read about the Samyang fish eye lens. They say it's quite just average. Just average. I think maybe if you are new to all this, you are not very sure about all the old lens, you don't dare to explore. My advice to you, you can just buy the Samsung, Samsung
Samyang.
fish eye lens if you're not sure. Because all these old lenses have one little risk. The risk is it's so old. If you do not know the condition and you don't know how to check, there is a slight risk that it might not be a good copy. It might not be a good copy. And on this lens, the company probably might not even exist. You want to find who to repair, right? So for people who are new, who are not very sure about all this lens, if you want to find alternative to your cheap lens, right? For example, the Samyang, I can advise you just buy a Samyang. I can't tell you whether is it the quality picture or not. I can't tell because personally I never use Samyang fisheye lens, but what I read from the review is it's not that fantastic, but also not very bad. So I think it's okay. Minota beer, Minota beer, a bit. I also have other lens, but hey, welcome. So for Canon people, I can't help you, but actually John did help me a bit. There are some lenses from the FD mount, the pre-Canon FD mount. There are some legendary lenses, but I really don't know the model. Maybe Howard, you all have some idea, but I'm not very sure. You can actually, if you don't mind, right? All these lenses are cheap and good. 可以用的啦，可以用的，是可以用的。
你什么都可以用的嘛。
This is the this is the 400. This is the 200 f4. You see, so small. This is the 180 f4.8. This is the 200 f4. You see, 很轻哦。我这样拿去bro 拍到我爽都不用去想太多。这样小。
经商的时候更爽。
Yeah, any questions? 可以聊天啊，再可以拿狗币聊天哦。我也不懂要讲什么。
Interesting.
So, okay. 其实initially, you know Sony you know what Sony famous for? You know why so many people buy Sony camera? You all know why?
Why?
Okay, people answer lah. You so fast for what? You should know the answer one lah. Yeah, no, I see nobody reply, so I answer for Howard. Okay, initially, Sony, right, because of the lens flare, the design, the sensor distance to the focus converging point of the lens is very huge. It's very long. I can't remember the number. Okay, so a lot of lens from different mount, Russian, German, China, any lens can adapt to the Sony camera. Literally can adapt. Literally. So as long as you got the right adapter, then 它可以 focus speed. Okay. If you notice in the early day when Sony camera came out, 他们没有拿 Sony 的 lens 来做 review of 那个 camera。你们注意看，they never use Sony lens for their Sony camera review. Never when they came out. Never. If you go and look at the old camera, they do not use their kit lens because Sony kit lens yeah. Okay, but until the Sony GM lens come out, then that one different story. That one is kicking everybody's butt. Okay, that one is different. Okay. So Sony was actually very popular at the point in time because a lot of them can use. Canon also. Nikon is the worst. Nikon cannot use. Nikon can only use reader f mount. M42 can, but the focusing distance is only 40 cm and you cannot focus at infinity. Reason why you cannot focus at infinity is because okay, some old lens are not suitable for Nikon for DSLR, DSLR, not the mirrorless DSLR. Because, for example, this lens, if I you see behind, if I focus on infinity, it will come out. You see? It's coming out, right? It will hit the shutter mechanism. That's why
You,
M40
you buy a sticker adapter lah.
OK，等一下，还没讲完。So 这个，so this Helios lens, I'm using an adapter lah. OK, this is an M42 to f mount. OK, I bought it at $2 only. OK, so you can see how much it came out. How much came out? You hit the mechanism. So, but interestingly, when you focus on infinity, you hit the shutter, right? YouTube teach you how to dismantle the elements inside. Dismantle, I say one more time, dismantle, the whole thing. You modify the position of the elements. You can focus on infinity with Nikon lens. Only for this model, the rest I'm not sure. Only for this. So another one advantage of all the old lens, right? Because of its simpler design, some lens you can literally dismantle everything, right? You clean yourself and then you attach it back. Can one? This one can. I did it. Inside I put a rubber ring to make the element further, then can focus infinity without hitting the shutter. I think this one John bought for me, 50 Sing. Come on. Okay. Olympus, I talked to Howard. The 4-3 also have very good alternatives, especially the wide angle, like the 918. The one is quite good. If you are interested, you all can take a look at the review. But you all need adapter, most likely, and focus picking up for landscape. But anyway, landscape, you need manual focus, so no difference. Okay, any questions? I also don't know.
Yes, guys. Any
Just ask lah. Okay. Hey, John, don't ask too difficult. Don't please don't.
good question there.
No, I do not use reverse lens for macro. There's no reason why for me. No reason for me from the start. I just buy macro lens really. I never use this reverse lens. However, I do use extension ring and Reynolds to help me get the magnification that I want. Okay, motor lens. The older generation are manual focus. Okay, manual focus. Manual focus. When you say the motor, right, I assume are lenses that are in the late 90s to 80s, where the AF motors actually first came out. Okay. Personally, I feel, this is my personal view, the older lens, the motor are better. Cine better. Why I say that? And let me show you an example. I go back to lens again. Howard, play music.
You're gonna bring up all.
You go so far.
Question. My son has another question.
Yes. Michael, wait, let me answer Hao Tan first. The motor of the lens, right, is to me is actually I feel is better than modern motor, AF motor. Not because it's faster, it's more durable. In terms of durability, I prefer the older generation. But some of the AF motor in the past, right, quite noisy. You can actually hear the sound. So it's not very good for video. But if you just shoot, it's not an issue. But my word of caution for you is, all these lines are very old. The AF motor may be very, very wear and tear. there's a high chance that it might damage with it. So you all need to be careful. If you want to buy old lens AF, right, be prepared. There is a chance that your motor might be damaged or just hit the lifespan, just spoil. Okay. But for durability travel, I do prefer the older lens, the older generation motor. Okay, this is my 300 f4. Very old. This is Nikon's 300 f4. I think it's about 15 to 20 years ago. This is the first generation AF, Nikon AF. Okay, so when it came out, it's called AF. After that, AFS, AF, blah blah blah. But the first generation is called AF. So this lens, why I buy this lens? This lens I bought it for 380 sing. 380 sing. This is a gentleman, 380 sing. Okay, as I show you, the hood is built in. Very good, very cheap. Okay, the filter is interesting. The filter is actually in the middle. Okay. Okay, back to my question whether the motor is better or not. For durability, yes. I find because it is purely mechanical, not electronic. If you hit water, you hit snow, it still works. You still it will just work. And then you put it near somewhere near the heater, evaporate dry, can use already. In electronic, you kena water, you try that. There's some chance that it might be damaged on. Sure kena. Even if weather seal, you know, this is based on my own experience because when I bring to Hokkaido, my whole camera is snow. Even the lens. When I do AF, the snow came out from my motor. When you rotate, the snow ooze out. I seen it. No, whole snow is inside the AF motor. I put it near the heater. Next day, dry out. I can use already. No problem.
You lucky.
For Michael.
SMG.
So, okay, theoretically it can work. Theoretically it can work, but there's one little problem. Your 200 mm modern lens, and maybe the previous generation 2000s, right, they do not have diameter for the Reynolds. If you're talking about mine, the 1980s, the f4, it can because the diameter is very small. How do you test? Check the condition. Okay, this one I also want. I know definitely somebody will ask on. Okay, so
you expect.
I'm about to ask a question, really.
No expert, you teach me one. Okay, when you hold a lens, right, the first thing people usually check is the lens, the element. Okay. But for me, usually what I do, I will check the serial number. I will ask Carousel the guy, can I have the serial number of the particular lens? Because some lens are modern, new, past generation. You check the serial number if you can. Check online. Because some lens, right, certain badges got issue one. If you don't blur, the seller cut you sell then you give. So check the serial number. But if you don't have serial number and then there's a risk, then you need to check physically. Then physically, what I usually do is I just use the lights, just to torchlight and just look at it. What do you look for? Not for dust, but look for fungus. How does fungus look like? Fungus looks like spider webs inside your lens. If you see dust inside, it's very common. Very common. Very common. If you can find one 40, 30 years old, no dust, I buy from you. I guarantee I buy from you. But what I'm trying to say is, if you see dust inside, just a few speckles, right, it's actually okay one. Okay, Mr. Hotan is okay one. Lens dust inside, very normal, very common one. But if you see fungus, usually we start from the side. Looks like spider web one. That's a tail sign that better don't buy the lens. Because there's some risk that the fungus might still be alive and still growing on the element, and then you spread, then your lens become the one only customized in the world, spider web lens. You see, so don't buy. So if you check, don't have, very good. first test pass. The second one, look at the back also. Front and rear always look. Inside all the way, you also must see. Make sure there is no potential spider web-ish things you see inside. If it's clean, with just a few dust, white dot dust, is okay one. The next thing you need to see is the aperture ring. Aperture ring. See this thing rotating? Very loud, right? Make sure that it's smooth and it's not stuck. Okay. Another thing to check, which this one I don't really bother lah. Is look when you close the lens to the highest aperture you can see f32, f39, f22, up to you. You look at inside, you see all the aperture blades will be closed. Then you see whether is there misalignment for all the aperture blades. If there is, don't buy, because they pay, will spoil one. Okay, there are some lens that you see inside very greasy, like a lot of oil. That one is normal one, especially Russian lens. Sometimes you hold, you feel like greasy. Is because that's the way they design. They put grease inside to make the aperture blade smooth. The Jupiter that I showed you just now, the silver color one, Nikon. Sometimes I smell got the grease inside. Still have one. That is meant for test blade. Yeah, I do. But not all the time lah. Some I'm quite confident. But usually I do test. Then if you are using modern camera, you make sure you need to. Okay, speaking of this, Mr. Tan, is it your surname Tan? Okay, Mr. Tan. Okay, I do try out. Okay, sorry, I do try lens on my camera before I buy, just to test. And then make sure a lot of beginner they don't know. Make sure your aperture is always at f20 at the highest aperture before you attach the camera. If not, your camera will have error. Not because the lens sucks or lousy, right? You have to adjust to the highest aperture, then you connect the camera, then the camera can read. Okay, this is some of the common mistakes people don't know. Or sometimes when you attach, right, the thing run away, then you don't know. Oh, spoil. Actually, it's not spoil. Just rotate back only. Then give it.
Jeff, what about water condensation? For example, you're in the cold area, then you lens, you go to the hotter place, you see condensation. Do you classify that kind of lens is faulty or it's normal?
Condensation, you mean inside?
Fog
Inside.
Is it like fog?
Okay, the word is hazy. Some lens you see inside hazy don't buy. 它里面的那个
group
是那个 coating 还是那个油它已经在里面已经 circulate 到它的黑，已经它的 element 那个 body coating 已经跑掉了，已经黑小了。There is one lens that I always want to buy， 可是it's so old all the 10 lens that I check Nikon one all haze， 哇 very 险 ，because you haze right。Okay, additional information. The first element here deals with flare and contrast. Your first element deals with flare and contrast. If your first element is hazy due to the coating and the grease inside, right, your contrast drop already. Your sharpness will also drop. So no point. 你看到黑好像黑蒙 cloudy don't buy it. Don't waste your time. No point one. That one is not fault. That one is not. It's not user don't take care or owner don't take care. It's just the way it's too old already. The things start to disintegrate. 没有办法的这个。My oldest lens I think is a Helios 1983. Yeah, I still buy. Oh, for information I have. I think maybe 85% of my lens are all used, are all secondhand. All secondhand. I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't mind. It's okay one. And another tip for some of you guys who buy secondhand will agree with me. If you all want to buy secondhand, which is not available in Malaysia, or you all don't mind spending a bit of money overseas, right, from eBay or what, right? Look for Japanese seller. Japanese seller, they take care of their lens very good one. Very good one. The price might be a bit steeping. The price might be higher, but I can guarantee you, the Japanese people, they keep their second-hand lens for sale in a very, very mint condition one. Very good one. Trust me, I never complain. The Tokina I buy from eBay. This one from my friend, he also buy from eBay, then he sell it to me. It's very new, very good. You see, more than 30 years already. You see the coating is still also good. For it doesn't drop.
It's
Still very good.
sealed in already, not print.
Yeah, but I mean it's very well maintained. And then for who's the guy that asked me macro? Macro, who's the guy? Is it Michael?
Michael.
I don't know if you are Nikon or what, but if you are Nikon and you want to buy macro, yeah, correct. Japanese people really take care one. This is one fact. You buy from Japan people, 80 to 90% the lens will be in good condition one. Not happy, you can send back one. They'll pay you. They steady one. For Mr. Tan, if you like, for me, I like to research a lot of Nikon lenses. I like to go and find those. I call it gems lah, GEMS, gem. Those lenses that nobody care one, but actually it's a hidden gem, very good one. So this lens is okay. For Nikon people, the famous macro lens is a 55 mm f2.8 AIS. 55 mm, 2.8. This is the one before that. Nobody care about this lens one. Nobody care. I bought it for $40. 40, and I took macro. This is a macro lens too. It's very sharp. Macro lens in design is very easy one. $40, very light. And it is the successor to this lens costs about $100-200, I remember, in carousel. It's not 40 only. Of course, cosmetic tree is badly damaged, but the optic inside is clean. And I don't mind, just use. And it's very light.
You use this one for stacking or not? For the more extreme stacking?
什么用这个这个 so far 我没有 sorry I didn't. When I started macro, right, I don't want to buy too expensive. But given my knowledge, I buy this one, try to see whether I like macro or not. So no, at the point in time, I still a mature macro shooter, so I don't stack.
Now you try this with the extreme macro lah.
My diffuser cannot suit this one. I never use it.
Oh yeah, diffuser.
Cannot, very hard. Yeah.
You special make
Lazy to do
You lazy lah, not cannot. It's lazy.
eBay 咯，我觉得 eBay 最多I think eBay is the most Carousel in Malaysia, I don't know how they work in Malaysia compared to Singapore. But like Mr. John Chia and I, we usually look at eBay. Then for me, I look more at Carousel because eBay, lazy Carousel, I just see, I like, can I just buy already, easy. I think eBay is trusted because they also have ratings of the buyer You know one. You can tell one. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, I remember you spent Tokyo. Get those lenses, isn't it? Which store was that again? That's how you mentioned.
It's called Off. OFF Off.
Yeah, for those of you guys know if you have been to Tokyo, you can try this OFF.
Yeah, it's called OFF. But okay, it's a chain store. It's called OFF. So the name in front will tell you what they are selling. So for example, soft, SOTF, soft off means they are selling books, software and stuff. But if you look at hard off, HARD, hard off means they are selling lens, those furniture, those more. I don't know how to say
Rare things.
Something like that. So, but not every store will sell lens, so you need to be careful. And given their reputation, right, even though I go there, I still see a lot of lenses not being taken care of. I see some lenses got fungus, the Nikon one. So I heart pain, I see like that. So good lens, the lens like that, heart pain. But I never buy because so many fungus. They usually just put one side all the electronic. Yeah. But you want cheap deals, actually Japan a lot, really a lot. Did I buy any lens from? No, usually I didn't buy from Japan because at the point of time when I go there, a lot of the lenses are not in very good condition. You just throw one side.
I thought you say bad company care their lens very much.
eBay they should take care 嘛。How I know？ 我去那边他是这样，我哪里知道？不然我就买到烂了哦。credit card 就烂了哦，管他这样多。Yeah, and I bought some interesting stuff for Japan also. The vacuum cleaner or for camera and lens. Very funny, very funny gadget. But I do realize if you want to buy lens, right, buy from the native country would be better. It's better for you to go to a physical shop to look for second-hand lens, but in Malaysia or Singapore, I don't think there's a lot. I don't even think there's any shop that sells second-hand lens.
Peninsula Plaza, Singapore.
Vintage.
But Malaysia I not sure. But if you're new to this, I do recommend you go physical and see better. Or you ask someone who knows about how to check lens, go with you help you check. And then you go carousel, you check the price, see is it around there, is it cheap or more expensive? If it's more expensive, then up to you want to buy now. 哦，对哦，Peninsula Michael right，我很久没去那边。
Yeah, Peninsula Plaza got lots, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So, 很多啊 ，all my lenses are actually all my I only have two modern lens as in after 2000 two modern lens. The rest are all the former generation. Only two modern lens. 磨料 The Sigma Spots and the 1635 that I showed you just now. The rest are all very old models. In the later than early 2000 the modern lens I have is the late 2000s. The 2014, 2015 lens.
Actually, I just one thing I don't understand actually. From the picture that you, whether it's vintage lens or modern lens, you
if the person never edit too much, because you notice some of my picture, it's not so saturated. Some I got edit, some I never edit. It's a bit desaturated one. You can tell the color not very strong one. What I'm trying to say is because of the contrast is not so good, compared to modern lens. But if you look at it, actually it's usable. To me the word is usable. Whether I can tell or not, throughout the whole slide I say, can you tell? I also cannot tell one.
So that means that so you use the word usable means vintage lens, the quality of the pictures are less what do you call it? The quality of the picture is not as good as the modern lens.
Quite subjective.
Can we say that? Or do you agree? Or because you
to me usable means good enough for me to upload Facebook, to print, to show people. And the vintage lens or old lens deliver the job. 它可以就可以 like you see the 180我拍以令可以用啊 you look at it it's really okay. Is that the answer?
Okay, if someone pay you for the job, for example, if someone pay you for the job, would you use the vintage lens or would you use the modern lens?
Good question. This one good question. I admit for events I will not use vintage. For events, if portrait, because my portrait all is vintage, all manual focus, only one is AF, right? I will use. Because the person might have seen my picture, then he or she will ask me, Then I told him, then since I've been using manual focus, he likes it, okay lor. But for events, risky bang, cannot too risky. Wedding shop, I manual focus, I miss, I die like that, brother, I die So I admit not everything must MF, I admit so cannot. That one the risk too high.
Yeah, I mean necessarily event, it can be architecture, it can be products, it can be other genre.
Anything that is not
moving,
not so demanding I think like because all these events are the top priority is moment. You must capture the moment. Unless you sniper, you damn do now, can then okay But like what Howard and I say, Howard said, if you're not scared to pre-focus, not scared to miss focus, use manual focus lah. For me, if I'm not scared to miss moment, I use manual focus lah. But this one cannot lah. I miss moment, I die already lah. So it depends lah. It depends. Yeah, so the numbers on the left, right, go read about it, try to understand. I think it's good. The problem now with most modern photographers, right, is they lack foundation. They just let AF do everything without any basics. I think that's very important. You need basics. All these are not for show. You really need to know a bit to help, especially in landscape. You mimoso, Milky Way, dark, you cannot manual focus, you use manual. Then how you manual? If there's no stars, no nothing, you cannot see. How do you actually shoot in total darkness where there's no wind, nothing for you to focus? This is where the numbers will help you. Your savior. 我很像那个 Facebook Live 卖 land 了，要买什么啊？来啊！点赞我，点赞我。
Fish eye.
哇 ，OK， if fish eye buy one free two， 有些都买不到，有些 OK， fish eye, the word fish eye means it has an interesting perspective of the lens. Okay, perspective is curved. It might not work for everything. There are not many people who are willing to invest a lot of money on fish eye unless you really know what to do. For wide angle, it's more normal and it's safer for you if you want to try to shoot landscape or wide angle places. I think my wide angle is better. Okay. It looks similar, but actually it's not. It's not. It's totally different. The way it's designed, it's not right. It's not rectilinear lens. It's different. It's not. It's not. But it is wider. It is definitely wider than rectilinear lens, straight one. It's definitely wider. But nowadays, all the new lens, the Iris, the Laowa, also wide really. So, yeah. My answer to you is, if you take landscape, you just use the wide angle better because fish eye is not for everybody. Some people might like it, unless you take a two-way.
So the only reason people go for vintage lens is because of budget. Is that true?
Budget, character,
small
size also.
Me.
Yeah. For me, is I buy partially. I like Nikon and then not another Nikon is cheap and small, good to use for travel. It delivers. And then some lens, right, like the 180 f/8 in modern lens, 这么贵，几千块嘞 ，cannot buy But the old one only 400 plus can use. Why not? Same optics some more. Just use It deliver 嘛。因为 manual focus, I mean 这边很多师傅 season 的。Of course, 有些 lens, right, 有些 vintage lens 很贵Is like I say, is still not because of 它怎么说呢？ Some vintage lens until today are still very expensive. Leica is one of them. 还是 fish eye 那个 Nikon 的 fish eye 的 13mm fish eye 那个也是很贵。这些 lens 有些 lens 不是全部都便宜的，有些都很贵的。What I say in Chinese, I mean what I'm trying to say is, not all vintage lenses are cheap. There are some that is really, really expensive. The Leica series is all few $1,000s. The Nikon Note series, the Canon FD, especially the Nikon Note series, the old lens, even today's use, is still a few $1,000s. Some lens, the value is there because it is that good. The value is there.
Jeff, are you any vintage lens they possibly exposed to rain? Have you heard anything about that?
Oh, I think you are talking about that lens. What lens is that? Mamiya, is it?
I think Connex. I think
Okay, yeah, I heard about this. Some people debate lah, but I don't
Mm.
think no lah. I think no lah. I think it's not true lah.
people say that no, do not buy vintage lens because there's the possibility of exposing yourself to radioactive.
So far, the only lens that I heard is that I can't remember the name. I don't know, is it Contex or Mamiya? But the rest of the vintage lens, so far I never heard anyone say they use radioactive or anything. No lah, I don't think so.
Okay, guys,
Yeah.
any more questions?
Yeah.
Thank
you very much. Thank you.
Okay, question? Okay, no more. I think we can end our sharing tonight. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can just.
For those who want to follow Jeff, you have Instagram, you have Facebook.
I type in the conversation. In the conversation, then my IG just free. I think you always add me and then just ask me. I'll be happy to help. Facebook, I'm not so active. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys, for joining us. See you next week. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
那你们两个啊，对，那个，我老伟，